Hey everyone, this is Bill Krieger from the Veterans Archives podcast, where we preserve and share the incredible stories of our nation's heroes. Catch us every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern on Wreaths Across America Radio, or stream anytime on Buzzsprout, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Really, anywhere you choose to get your podcast, you should be able to find us. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on social media to help us reach more veterans and supporters. We are a nonprofit, and this service is completely free for veterans. Every story matters, and every voice deserves to be heard. Spread the word, honor our heroes, and join us on this mission. Follow, share, and tune in, because their story should never be forgotten. Learn more at veteransarchives.org. We'll see you there. Today is Thursday, October 16th, 2025. We're talking with Jerry Binning, who served the United States Army. So good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Happy to be here.
Thanks for making the trip up from Charlotte. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Or some people call it Charlotte.
Exactly. Well, if you don't want to spell it, say Charlotte.
Exactly. People will understand. So we'll start out real simple today. When and where were you born?
I was born in Wood River, Illinois, 1960.
Okay. Now, did you grow up in Wood River then?
I spent 3 years there.
Okay.
Don't remember much of that.
All right. Where'd you go from there?
And we moved to Charlotte, Michigan after that.
Okay.
So I went to school all through, the Charlotte school system.
All right. Now, tell me a little bit about growing up. Did you have brothers and sisters?
Okay. I had an older sister. She was a half sibling on my dad's side, and a year younger sister that lived with us. Ended up, my parents got divorced and ended up with a younger sibling brother, 8 years younger than me. So,
okay. And did they all stay right in that Charlotte area?
No, just me right now.
Okay.
My sister was here until about 2 years ago. She moved to Florida, decided she liked warm weather.
Yeah, I have a brother and a sister that both did that. They were in Arizona, so understand that. Well, talk to me about growing up. What was it like growing up in the 60s in Charlotte, Michigan?
Well, I like seeing a lot of this stuff on YouTube and whatever, as far as growing up back then, and, drinking out of fountain houses, being kicked out of the house, just as long as you're back before dark. Basically just ran wild.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember those days like you would, because I was born in 65, so not too far behind you. But yeah, when the streetlights came on, you knew it was time to go home.
Oh, yeah. And I was watching Henry Winkler on a new program he does about how dangerous things were. He did covered toys with lawn darts, which I don't really remember anybody using them the way they were supposed to be used. It's just throw them up in the air and hope not to get hit.
Yeah, I remember throwing them up and then everyone would run.
Right. And, I don't know if you remember the clackers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You'd be clacking away at those and then it'd just disintegrate.
Yeah. Yeah, or you'd hit yourself in the, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I've done that too, yeah. Or especially the wrist. I had some nasty bruises around my hand and wrist. But
yeah. Did you ever, so this was probably 70s era, but do you remember the Evel Knievel stunt cycle?
Yes.
Did you ever have the pleasure of owning one of those?
No,
Oh, you missed out.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. Yeah. And I remember toys all had sharp edges too. They were made out of metal and had sharp edges.
I remember riding back in the back of a pickup truck too. I was like, all right, you kids, y'all get back there. And I remember my stepmom one time, I think we was backing out of a ice cream joint or something. Mm-hmm. And she backed out. And before she came to a complete stop, she dropped it in drive and hit the gas. And we just went flying up against the tailgate. Thankfully, it didn't come open.
Right? Back when they made cars that lasted, right?
Right.
Well, talk to me a little bit about school then.
Don't remember a whole lot about school. I mean, it was just, I did the sports thing and, softball, baseball, basketball, pee-wee football. I was pretty much involved in all the sports until I got to high school. Mm-hmm. And then I was more interested in making money than playing on the football team.
Okay. You would go right to work then when you got to high school?
Pretty much, yeah. I started working at a pizza joint.
Mm-hmm.
started out making pizzas and, like doing the waiter thing. But then I kind of graduated to pizza delivery, which is a little bit better.
There's some good money to be made in pizza delivery.
Well, and then the size of my town, which was probably, around 17,000 back then, it was, easier to memorize all the streets and whatnot. So,
was that back when they had like the guaranteed 30-minute delivery or something?
No, that came out later. That was after I got away from that. But
okay.
Yeah, so we weren't exactly racing to get to the place, but Charlotte has railroads that go through it where sometimes, you'd be making delivery and you get caught, behind a railroad or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Or a train going through. And then they complain, well, what took you so long? The train. You didn't hear it?
It's a little loud.
Right.
Yeah. So you make it through high school and did you graduate?
Yes.
Okay. And what happens after high school?
Okay, well, after high school, I remember having like 2 and then 3 different part-time jobs. I told them all I had 2 part-time jobs that they had to schedule with when I was basically juggling 3. But anyway, so I ended up getting a manufacturing job after that. And I don't know, things were going good. I was making pretty decent money. And then I got laid off from that. And it's like, well, it was hard, kind of depressed back then as far as finding good paying jobs.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure how it is now, but I think it's about the same. And anyways, my stepdad was National Guard, Army. He's like, you should go in the service. And my cousin, who's a year older than me, had joined the Air Force. So I was thinking about going to the Air Force myself. And he's like, have an Army recruiter there with you, just to play them off of each other. Well, and Army recruiters can talk circles around Air Force recruiters as far as I'm concerned. And anyway, so that's the way I ended up going. I can't exactly remember what I went through, but I remember having to go to Detroit, the MEP station, and, they do written tests and they do physical tests and that and whatever. I got all through with that and was talking to a sergeant and he says, oh, so you want to be a tanker? No. I'm enlisting to be a diesel mechanic. Well, you need to talk to your recruiter then because it's got you down here as a tanker, 19 Delta at the time.
Yeah.
And anyway, so I did talk to him on the way back. I'm like, well, they tell me I'm going to be a tanker. It's like, well, yeah, that's right. He's like, well, they have diesel engines and you're sure to work on them.
Spoken like a true recruiter.
Oh yeah, I was a little bit miffed,
yeah,
to say the least. But I didn't have a job, and I did want to get out of there. I ended up after I lost my job, I had to move back home with my parents, and it's like they weren't happy about it. I wasn't happy about it. So
yeah. Now, did you stay at that really nice hotel? What was it called? I think we stayed at the Mariner Hotel when I went to Detroit. It was terrible.
I really don't remember the hotel much, other than there was somebody yelling in the hallway wanting someone to drink with them.
Yeah.
Thinking tequila. I don't know. I didn't get involved. But
I think they hire someone to do that because I think I had that same experience.
Like, no, I don't want to be doing that. And
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did end up being a tanker.
Okay.
A driver. They sent me down to Fort Knox.
Now, where'd you do basic?
It was at Fort Knox.
Oh, right at Fort Knox.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I wanted to go in right away, and they said, like, you can go in today. We'll take you right now, if you want to go to Korea. It's like, no, I don't think I want to go to Korea. I don't have any experience with the military, and I, pretty much prefer to stay stateside. I want to stay stateside. So they said, well, come back in like 30 days or whatever, and you go to Fort Hood, Texas. And so anyways, like I say, I went to Fort Knox. And have you ever seen the movie Stripes? Bill Murray?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have.
They get off the bus and they go into this dilapidated looking building with signs all over it and stuff like that. It was like the exact same thing for me. I got off a bus right there. It was, I don't know, maybe 11:30, midnight, something like that. Go into that building, get yelled at.
Of course.
And I don't know. I don't think they finished until around 2:00 in the morning. It's like, wow, I'm not liking this so far, but those buildings they showed in that movie is exactly what was there when I was there.
Wow. Yeah. So did that movie come out before you went to basic? I'm trying to remember the time.
After.
Was it after? Okay. Yeah. See, I get because we got that 5-year difference, so that's where I'm getting thrown off. So you get there, they're yelling at you. It's 2:00 in the morning. Are you starting to maybe rethink your decision?
Oh yeah. I was kind of like Forrest Gump on that one. It's like, maybe the Army isn't the place for me, but
right. But you got there. Anything stick out in your mind about basic training?
This is my weapon. This is my gun. I'm sure you heard that one.
Oh yes.
This is for fighting. This is for fun.
Yeah.
That sticks out. Learning to march. We had some Marines that took basic there too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like they marched everywhere at half step. I mean, granted, by the time they're finished, they march really well. They look good together.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, I'm glad I'm not a Marine, which my younger brother, he went Marines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny how the different services, like you can tell, like when I went from the Navy to the Army, people knew I had been in the Navy by the way I marched.
Ah, okay, right.
They could like pick it out. And I'm like, I don't even know what you guys are talking about. I'm just marching. Yeah. So you get through basic, and then was your AIT right there at
yes, it was all one unit. It was supposed to be 3 phases.
Uh-huh.
The first phase, how many weeks it was, I'm going to say 4, but I don't really remember. It's a while back.
Yeah, it's been a few years.
You go through the first phase, and you can't have nothing at the mess hall but milk and water, and you pretty much don't have any liberties.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go to the second phase, you get like brigade passes where you can go to the PX and stuff like that. And then the third phase is like AIT. You have a lot more liberties after that, but we kept screwing up. We were the black sheep. We'd come out of one phase, we would overdo, mess up, and they put us back in phase 1. And so pretty much the whole thing was spent in phase 1 for me, because we went from phase 1 to phase 3 and did the same thing. It's like you couldn't give us any liberties where we didn't just take a mile.
So you got really good at phase 1 though, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, great. And then you finish up AIT, and then where do you go from there?
I did want to tell one story before I finish.
Yeah, please.
Christmas fell before I finished down there. So we basically got to borrow some leave time, and I went back home to see my family. Anyway, sitting down to dinner, I was usually the first one to the table and the last one to leave. I was a slow eater.
Mm-hmm.
I was not a slow eater after so many weeks in the Army, because if you ate slow, you didn't eat.
Right.
So anyway, I come home, and it's home cooked food, so it's good, and I'm just tearing it up, but not realizing it. I grab seconds, tear it up, grab thirds, I think the last of whatever was there or whatever, and I look up at my family, and they're all just staring at me like, oh my, this is not the same person that left here how many ever weeks ago. I think there were sparks coming off my plate, but I'm not sure.
That's highly possible.
Anyway, it's like, oh, okay, better slow down on the eat and try to be normal.
Right. Some things have changed, right?
Right. Well, I just remember, like say, if you didn't eat fast, you didn't eat.
Yeah. Especially
if you were like one of the last ones in.
Did they do the thing where like when the last person sat down, the first person had to get up in the chow hall? I vaguely remember something like that when I was in basic training.
I don't remember that so much, but I just know you had to be extremely fast if you were like one of the last few people to get in, because I don't know. I didn't time it. Maybe they did. I don't know the drill sergeants, but it's like, okay, so-and-so on your feet. We're out of here. And I mean, it was instant. You had to get it, because if you didn't get up and start moving right then, you were in trouble.
Right. Yeah, they weren't messing around with that kind of thing, were they?
They were not.
Well, so is there anything else you want to talk about through that basic training AIT time frame?
No.
Okay.
Pretty much covers it.
All right. So where do you go after AIT? Did you come home again, or did you just go? Okay.
I come home, and I had actually I had a pickup truck at home, and my stepdad ended up selling that for me and getting me a car.
Mm-hmm.
Or, it was actually his mother's car, so it was a Ford Galaxy. Anyways, like, I think I'd prefer to have a car over a truck, and drove down to Fort Hood.
Okay.
Which had an interesting story on that too. They had like a snow/ice storm, out Midwest down into Texas, and I was on a road in Oklahoma, and there were like potholes in the road, and with this ice on there, I mean, it was just real terrible. And I remember hitting this one pothole that actually busted the belts on my tire and dented the rim. But I had to keep going, because I only had so much time to get down there. And it's like, wow, this is scary.
Yeah, because they don't want to hear your excuses when you get down there.
Yeah, didn't you watch the weather? It's like, yeah, it was terrible.
Exactly. That must have been a terrifying drive down.
It was, but I made it.
Yeah. And
so,
what was it like at Fort Hood then?
Well, it was different. I was raised in Michigan, where you have 4 seasons. You watch the trees change and whatnot, and you get down to Texas, and it's like pretty much summer and winter.
Right.
And it was ungodly hot in the summer. But I know I was stationed. My first unit was 2nd of the 5th Cav.
Mm-hmm.
And at Fort Hood, they had the Cav, and then they had the armor unit at different sides of the base. And then I think they had 3 Corps or something like that there. But so I went into 2nd of the 5th Cav, and this was the unit that was designated to test the XM1, which is the first production models of the M1 tank.
Okay.
It hadn't been accepted by the Army yet. They have to test it first.
Right.
Give it to us and see if we can break it. So anyway, when I was first there, I think it might have been maybe about a year before we got the XM1. But anyway, we had to rebuild the M60s, M60A1s, I think they were.
Mm-hmm.
We had to put brand new track on them and basically replace whatever was replaceable on it. Well, when we had to do that, Texas had a heat wave at that time. It was over 100 degrees for over 100 days. And so you'd be down in the motor pool, and you set this big crescent wrench down or something like that, or a tanker spar or something like that, and you go to grab it like 30 seconds later, and it would burn your hand.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was awesome.
Did you get some pot holders or something at the PX to take care of that?
No, they changed their hours, where we started going down there in the morning,
mm-hmm.
Before light, and then I think we were pretty much finished by noon or before noon, and then we went back in there in the evening, so kind of like split shifts. But yeah, they just, it was really, really hard to work with that heat, and not being able to hold on to tools and stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you could almost fry an egg on the sidewalk, couldn't you?
Absolutely. Excuse me.
Just going to make a note. Just so I know where to clip that out.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no. That's why we do it this way, right?
Right.
So, okay. So what was the rest of your time like at Fort Hood then? What kind of duties did you have? What kind of things did you do?
It was pretty much all that when we got the XM1.
Uh-huh.
It was because, we got it, and like a little bit of training on it and whatnot, and we moved to the field for like 6 months straight. We'd come back in every 3 to 5 days, because we had married people.
Right.
And it's like, go home, see your wife, be back in the morning.
That's nice.
Or go see your family.
Right. Right.
But I know one thing I didn't like about it, it wasn't too bad at first, but then towards the end, it got to everybody wanted to see them. Senators, congressmen, generals, and it's like, I got to see this. So they wanted to just be parade ready as far as how we looked.
Yeah.
Spit shine boots and all that, and but we were living in the field, so
yeah, you were still working.
Right.
Yeah.
So Anyway, yeah.
Every day is a dog and pony show when you're doing that kind of stuff, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I always wonder what that meant because we said it all the time, but I didn't really get what it meant. But anyway.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much it. It's like, yeah, you got to be spit shine and prayed ready or whatever, and and you're living in the field.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't work very well. And so how long were you at Fort Hood?
I was at Fort Hood for 3.5 years, I think. Because,
Okay.
my enlistment was 3 years.
Right.
And I had made it through I started out driving on the M60. I ended up being a driver on the M1. And then as I progressed to Spec 4, I ended up getting special duty where they wanted me to be a Jeep driver for our XO, executive officer.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, I can do that. So I drove for him for a very brief period before I went on leave. Come back from leave, and everybody says, hey, guess what? You're the CO's driver now. I'm like, no, you mean XO. No, you're the CO's driver. Apparently the driver he had didn't know how to drive a stick.
Oh.
And, pretty much the commander had to have a driver that could, read a map, drive a stick, and be able to talk on the radio. And I could do all that, so.
Well, and the thing I don't think a lot of people know is like officers aren't supposed to drive.
Right. Correct.
That's enlisted work there. And I've been told a few times for sure.
Get out of there.
Yeah, exactly. I want to go back a little bit though. Tell me, what was it like to drive a tank?
It was a little bit difficult at first. Especially when you're buttoned up, you can't see much outside.
Right.
I have this one deal where I had switched tank commanders. I had a platoon sergeant who I'm not exactly sure where he went, but I ended up with a new platoon sergeant, and they operated up there differently.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept trying to tell the new guy, it's like, look, if if I can't see well enough or whatever, and you want me to turn hard right, you have to tell me to turn hard right. Don't just tell me turn right, because I'm going to, turn right a little bit and then let go.
Yeah.
And anyway, I don't know. We had somebody in the tank with us, somebody that wanted to see the M1s, and I'm following other tanks in the trail or whatever, and you have to imagine Fort Hood, it's all dry and dusty or whatever.
It's basically the desert.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm driving along, and all I see in front of me is dirt, right. Dust flying. So we're coming up on a turn. He says left turn. So I turn left and straighten out, and he's like, no, hard left. Well, by the time it cleared, so we ended up hitting a ditch, but thankfully no one got hurt.
Yeah.
It was the suspension system on the M1 is pretty amazing. You wouldn't think much about it unless you probably came from an M60 or like an M113. Those things are terrible.
Like riding a gravel truck or something like that.
Oh man, they just jar your teeth.
Yeah.
And then the M1 was just smooth and rock and roll, and actually got one airborne. Shortly after we first got it, I hit this ditch, and it's like, oh, that was neat. I want to try it faster. And my tank commander was yelling at me. And it's like, hang on. So I did a little bit faster, and I think the first half of the road wheels came off that time. It's like, oh, okay, one more time. And this time he's with me. He's like, okay, let's hit it again. Hit it pretty much full bore, and it left the ground.
Wow.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, you're supposed to test them, right?
Well, right.
You were just doing your job.
I was. That was one of my good memories.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when you're driving it, is like a little portal or something to look at? Because I'm not really familiar with tanks. Or do you have like a periscope that you use to drive, or how does that work?
You have 3 portals. One that looks out, I'm going to say 30 to 40, well, not 45. I'm going to say about 30 degrees left, 30 degrees right, and one straight forward.
Okay.
And then you can take that one that goes straight forward out, and you put a night vision system in there.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much when you're driving at night, that's all you can see is straight forward.
Right.
So.
Well, and you don't, with night vision, you don't really have depth of field either. Like you're just seeing, but you don't really know how far things are, right?
Right. Correct.
That must make for some fun driving.
That's true. Well, and like full moon nights, it's kind of like daylight out there.
Yeah.
But when you have no moon nights and very little stars, it's really gets pretty hard to see.
It's an acquired skill, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, where do you go from Fort Hood then? Because your enlistment's up, right? At the end of your time.
It's coming up. Yeah. I actually had applied for flight school. I had my platoon leader. He applied to flight school. I'm like, wow, I didn't know you could do that. So I didn't get much information from him, but he told me that you had to start out taking a FAST test, flight aptitude skills test. And so, I mean, he had his packet put in and he pretty much left right away. So anyway, I went to take this FAST test and, I passed it. So I tried to put my packet together, and I figured my battalion headquarters would know how to put this packet together because he did.
Mm-hmm.
He did it all himself or had help with someone else. They knew nothing about this stuff. So I ended up having to go back to this place I tested at, and there was a sergeant there. I think his name was Sergeant Bragg, Sergeant First Class. Anyways, he helped me put my packet together. And, so I passed the test, got my packet together, and sent it away. And then I waited forever to get word on this. And I got 15 days short. No one knew it but me.
Oh.
I mean, I had 15 days left on my ID. And
that's kind of close.
It is. I'm like, oh, come on, please, just send word down. But anyway, they sent us to draw new equipment from supply. And I get up to the supply sergeant, and he starts throwing this stuff at me, and it's still in bags. It's brand new. I was like, oh, I really don't want this stuff, given that I'm probably going to have to turn it back in a couple of days. He's like, what? Like, yeah, that's right. I'm 15 days short. Do you want to give this to me? He's like, wait a minute. He runs off and calls the first sergeant, comes back to me, Benning, first sergeant wants to see you. And anyway, I think he's supposed to know about things like this, like getting lists down from whatever.
Right, he's supposed to come talk to you and all that stuff, right? That didn't happen.
Exactly. So I think it pretty much embarrassed him, and he was a little bit upset with me. And he's like, I need to know today, right now. It was like a Friday, right? Stay in right now. Are you staying in or are you getting out? I'm like, oh, well, first sergeant, seems how you put it to me so nicely. I'm getting out. He's like, fine. Report to me Monday morning and get your clearance paperwork. Okay, no problem. So anyway, I went back to this Sergeant Bragg that helped me put my packet together and told him, oh, I appreciate the help. You did a good job. It was fantastic. I said, but I ain't heard nothing. I said, I got 15 days. First sergeant says I need to get out. He's like, no, wait a minute. He says, if you're waiting for word on a school that you had put a packet into or whatever, you can extend 6 months at a time. I'm like, I can? I did not know this. So basically that's what I did. But when I went back to see the first sergeant Monday, I was like, no, I've changed my mind. I'm not getting out. I am not re-enlisting, but I'm instead extending. He was not a happy case.
It was not the answer he wanted to hear.
No, him and I didn't get along.
Yeah.
To say the least.
I can kind of hear it in your voice a little bit there.
Right. So anyways, ended up getting accepted to flight school, and the lady, I think she was a division level, told me I was accepted to flight school, that I should be expecting orders anytime, because they had said send this list down to brigade, and the brigade would send it down to me. And anyway, so I didn't get anything. I called back and I was like, I've got nothing from them. She's like, well, let me give brigade a call. So she called back and she says, I got to send them another list because they can't find your name on that list. And still nothing. So I'm like, well, how about if I come and get that list from you? Because brigade was telling me that I wasn't on it.
Right.
And take it to brigade so I can point it out to this person there where my name is on the list. And anyways, I found out the confusion. Everybody's name on that list of, be made up in individual orders from this block list.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is typed in there, like off a computer, typewriter, or whatever, and my name is written in on the very top.
Oh, well.
So the lady at brigade didn't see it written in at the top, and she's like, "Oh, there you are." And she grabbed her copy. Oh yeah. So anyway, I ended up with like 5 days to clear and get out of Fort Hood. And went to flight school.
Now, where'd you go to flight school at?
Fort Rucker, Alabama.
Oh boy, that's a nice. That's even warmer, isn't it?
It is, but I like Fort Rucker.
Yeah,
I could see myself living down there even now. It's very warm and humid in the summer, but most generally not too bad in the winter.
Yeah.
It was a different world.
Huh.
I was not interested. Hadn't really been inspected like that, I guess. Playing that game was, you got to have your underwear, t-shirts, and whatever rolled in how many ever inches, and having a working display, they called it, where you had to use it, but it had to be perfectly displayed.
Yeah, no shaving cream in the shaving cream lid and all that stuff, right?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And then starting out, you had you had your display locker, which had your uniforms and whatnot, your underwear, your Class A's, your shoes, your boots, and this. But you had a shared locker for extra stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so you'd have like a combination locker that you both had the combination to. And whoever was in it last before leaving for the morning or whatever had to make sure it was locked. Well, we had gotten word from a guy that, for whatever reason, he had to go back to the barracks. Said, I think you guys' area got trashed. Like, what? And I remember I was the last one in that shared locker. Like, did I forget to lock it? Because that was an invitation to trash your displays if you left it unlocked.
Right.
Anyway, sure enough, come back, and my area and his area is just totally trashed, and found out the reason, why it was unlocked or whatever. They left the desk drawer upside down on top of our garbage heap, and my locker mate had taped the combination to the bottom of the drawer.
Oh,
and it's like, I didn't get mad.
Yeah.
I was more or less relieved that it wasn't me because I was the last one in it. But it's like, really? Seriously? You didn't think they would find that?
But that's probably something someone's done before.
Absolutely. I'm sure they look for that stuff.
So when you go to flight school, though, so you're enlisted at the time, are you going through officer or warrant officer school then?
Yes. It's warrant officer candidate development course. And, well, if I come on off the street or I'm enlisted, they automatically bump you to E5 pay.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately for me, I was already in E5, so
no bonus for you.
I didn't get any extra money.
Yeah,
it's all the same.
And you didn't. There wasn't like a college requirement or any of that then for you to.
No, there was as far as getting promoted later on,
right?
But CW2 from CW1 to warrant officer 1 to CW2 was pretty much automatic, but after that they wanted you to have college.
Okay.
To 3 and 4, which is all they had at the time. Now I believe they have like a master warrant 5, something along those lines anyway.
The stuff all changes every couple of years, I think. So you're in warrant officer candidate school then, basically, and what's other than having your area trashed, what's the rest of that like for you?
It's all structured. I mean, they pretty much harass you from the time that you get up till the time that you go to bed. And it's just all designed to see if you can handle the stress. I mean, because we were taking warrant officer development course right there at Fort Rucker, which, is the flight school for the Army helicopters. So most of us were going that route. There were a few other ones, that was going into maintenance or finance or CID or stuff like that. But most of us were going right from the development course right into flight school.
Okay. So this course that you're in right now this is all just about being a warrant officer. You're not even looking at.
Correct. It's the equivalent of officer candidate course, like for lieutenants, wannabe lieutenants.
Exactly.
Of course, it's same stuff. We're just going to make you wish you weren't here.
Right. We're going to find your weaknesses. We're going to exploit them.
Exactly.
Yeah. I miss that.
It was very physical too. A lot of running, a lot of carrying logs and teamwork, team building.
Yeah. How long was that school?
I wish I could remember. I'm thinking it was about 10 weeks, maybe 12 weeks, but
I don't think it was a short school by any means.
No.
So anything stick out in your mind when you think about Warrant Officer School?
Oh, I love the way they used to trash your displays. You know, they would say, okay, we're going on these secret missions or whatever into this other country, but you have to dress like a local. So they would tell you how to dress. You know, you could have a low quarter on one foot and a boot on the other, wear your Class A trousers with your, you know, and they would just make up this ridiculous uniform.
Right.
Which, when you put it together and put it on, was destroying your display. So you go on about 5 different missions or whatever, one right after another, and by the time you were done, your display was destroyed.
That's all by design. You know, when you were talking about that, it reminded me when I was going through OCS, we were out in the field and we were doing stand to at like, I don't know, 6 o'clock in the morning. And all of a sudden the instructor was like, "Oh my God, we have a golfer. There's a golfer with us." And we're like, "What is he talking about?" He's like, just yelling at my friend, like, "Oh, you're a golfer, aren't you?" Well, he had put on his winter his winter trousers and his summer top. And so the big joke was golfers' shirts and pants don't match. And so, yeah, that was the big thing. I'll never forget. When you said that, it brought that right to my mind, like how you had to dress like that.
That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah. They find every little thing while you're there.
They do. Yeah, that was the last time my display was destroyed like that. I mean, our locker was always locked after that, but
yeah.
I mean, that's the worst because they turn everything upside down. They just undo everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they ever tie like your boots to somebody else's boots and that kind of thing too when they're trashing your locker? They used to do that to us.
Yeah, I don't so much remember that one. I just remember that it was because you only had everything was structured. You only had so much time for working on your personal stuff, and when it's destroyed, it's like, oh.
So then, after this secret mission, it must have been a real nightmare trying to put that all back together.
It was, but they just weren't finding enough demerits, on their daily inspections. Like, okay, well, they got this. They're a little bit too good at this, so we're gonna have to send them on some missions.
Yeah. So it's a little bit different from your basic training experience then when you got sent back to phase 1.
I wasn't used to that, but I mean, I did come in knowing a lot more than other people. Like I could march people and stuff like that. So,
what kind of mix was it between people who had like military experience and people that were just coming in sort of off the streets?
Most of us had military experience. There was a few that, and right offhand, I'm thinking they didn't make it. Like my locker mate, he didn't really handle the stress too much. He didn't like being yelled at all the time and worrying about this and that and the other thing.
Maybe
he started talking to me later. I think I'm gonna quit. It's like, look, they're just messing with you, man. If you want this, it's what you want to do. You got to get through this part first.
Yeah.
But he was wanting to go to flight school as well. So I was like, if you don't get through this, it's gone.
Well, the whole purpose is to make you quit.
Right, and they did.
The quitters are.
They busted him.
Yeah, that's too bad. So you obviously made it through warrant officer school, and then so did you have a break before you went on to flight school, or kind of what was that transition like?
No, it was pretty much right straight into flight school, and lots of memories from that.
Yeah, what were you learning to fly?
Well, at that time, they were training us. They had a TH-55, and it's a little helicopter with a pole coming out the back with tail rotor and 3 blades for the main rotor, and there's these bug eye looking plexiglass windows, and what looked like a VW engine on the back of it,
like something you might build in your own garage.
Yeah, exactly. But they were very durable, and so learning to fly that was pretty good. I mean, I started out having a little bit of problem finding what they call the hover button.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody's out there to the training airfields practicing hovering. And, you know, you come back at night and it's like, oh, I did it. I got it, you know. So everybody's getting it except me. That's what it felt like.
Right.
So I remember the next day I'm out with my instructor pilot. He's like, look, you know, I don't know what's taking you so long to get this or whatever. He says, but look, call. We're going to go to XX runway, call them and hover down there. I'll be on the controls with you and, you know, just riding along with you and you fly it out there. So I did all that. And I mean, it was not a problem. You're supposed to be hovering at 3 feet. I was doing that, had the heading that I wanted, got to the runway to where I was supposed to take off. Then I look over at him and he's got his foot up on the door because we didn't have doors. So he had a jam or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was kicked back smoking a cigarette. And I lost it. I'm like, I've been doing this myself, you know, I can't hover. And he's like, whoa. And he comes on the controls with me. But anyway, after that, it's like, okay, so obviously I can do it. I just need to get out of my head. And
yeah.
And it was the other memorable experience I had with that was, you know, after you learn to hover or whatever, they start doing solos where, you know, you have 2 students, 1 instructor pilot. So the one student would fly from the base field to the training field. Mm-hmm. And then the other one would fly it back at night. And then you flew with the instructor while you were at the training field. So anyway, I'm flying back to the base field, and we had an aircraft what's called a PWD, proximity warning device. Mm-hmm. With all those helicopters flying around, they want this, you know, to let you know that someone's around you. Right. So my PWD starts going off, and it's got lights on it to tell you basically which direction it's coming from and whether it's above or below you. And if it doesn't tell you above or below, it's the same level. So anyway, it's going off. It's not telling me which direction. It's not telling me whether it's above or below me. I'm looking everywhere. And then finally I see this other TH-55 coming directly at me with 2 pilots in it, you know, so it was an instructor pilot and a trainee. But why he was there, you know, because they had specific corridors that you were supposed to use, or whatever. And it was why he was coming at me on my corridor. I have no idea. It's like I had to take evasive maneuvers. And it's like, I'm not very far along to be flying like this, you know. Uh-huh. Had to kind of like roll it over and lose altitude. And anyways, I still wonder what he was doing there. It's like, if you got an instructor in there, he's supposed to know better.
So when you're like going out to the training field, is it like this little line of these helicopters heading out?
Exactly, yeah.
And then in the night they're all heading back in?
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Well, I mean, sometimes it's like that. Other times you would finish up, you know, at different times. So when your instructor got out, he would just, you know, okay, take her back to the base field. And then he got into a bus with the other pilot, and they bussed back to the base field.
Okay. And how long is this particular school? Is it a pretty long one?
Let's take a quick break.
Hey, listeners, we need your help to keep the Veterans Archives podcast going. We're a nonprofit dedicated to preserving the stories of our nation's heroes, and we provide this service completely free to veterans. Your support helps us record, share, and archive these incredible stories so future generations never forget the sacrifices made for our freedom. Every donation, big or small, makes a difference. Visit veteransarchives.org to contribute today. Help us honor their service by ensuring their voices are heard. And thank you for your support, and thank you to all the veterans who have served our country.
It seems to me it's like 6 to 9 months, somewhere in there.
And then
you go through stages. You have to, this was basically learning how to fly, which wasn't long after I got out. They dropped the TH-55 and started training them in the Huey, UH-1 Iroquois, Vietnam. I mean, everybody knows that helicopter.
Every time you get in one, you hear that that Rolling Stones song playing in the back of your head.
Yeah.
I know exactly. I flew in one of those a couple of weeks ago.
Did you?
Yeah, down in Brighton.
Well, that was kind of what, I really wanted to get into flight school after flying that thing. We flew in Fort Hood, and I was sitting in the side. My feet were hanging outside the helicopter, but they were on the edge there, and they were flying low, yanking and banking. I was like, I want to do this.
Yeah. The crazy thing about that is I've never felt unsafe in a helicopter. I don't like heights.
Oh, right,
but I've never felt unsafe in a helicopter. And I love having the door open and just.
Oh, yeah, it's awesome feeling having the door open.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So you you learn to fly in these smaller ones, and then so how do you graduate into and figure out what you're going to do next?
So then it's kind of like a qualification course. You go from the TH-55 to the UH-1. Can you fly it? It's a very quick period on there, though, of training you how to fly the Huey before they move you on to instruments, which is instruments is exactly like it sounds. You're flying off instruments. You're not able to see anything outside. You go by radio beacons and whatnot, and anyway, that takes up a good portion of flight school right there.
Yeah. So so when you're getting trained to fly on instruments, what do they blindfold you? Or they put something over the window, or how does that work?
Put this visor on your helmet. It's kind of like the horses in horse racing, where you can't see out to the sides.
Yeah.
And they put tinfoil in the chin bubble of the Huey, so you can't see nothing that way either. And so you really can't see out the upper window because you got this bill coming out in front of you, and then you got the blinders on the side, and you're just focused on your instruments.
Uh-huh. So does that really help you to trust those instruments then? Because isn't it possible that you could feel one way, but your instruments are telling you something different?
Oh, yeah. I had a problem with that.
Yeah.
I didn't know at the time, but I'm susceptible to flicker vertigo. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Never heard of that.
Well, how it happened to me, I'll explain it. I'm doing this approach, and the sun is behind me. So I'm on my instruments. I'm doing this approach, doing everything right. But with the sun behind me, I got this shadow of the blades going across the instruments. Mm-hmm. And, it's like flashing. Hence flicker vertigo. So, this is doing this, and I'm starting to feel like I'm rolling right or rolling left or wanting to do somersaults or whatever. And anyway, it got explained to me that's what was happening to me, but it's really, really hard to fight.
Yeah. Yeah, that's when you really do have to look at what's that telling me.
Right.
Yeah. Which I think they say is what happened to Kennedy. When he was flying his plane.
He had a spatial disorientation, I think, where you couldn't tell from the sky to the horizon what was what. It all just kind of like melded together with the stars reflecting off the water and whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, when your brain's telling you, hey, you need to roll 30 degrees right or whatever, it's really, really hard to fight that.
Right. Which is why they have school.
Yes.
Yeah. So then, so what happens after you're flying the UH-1s then?
The UH-1s, so then, that's like one of the biggest parts of failing flight school is not being able to get instruments. They're hard.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, then you go into your aircraft of what you're going to leave flight school flying. They had, at the time, they had the Cobras, the OH-58 Scout helicopter. You could stick with UH-1, and they had Blackhawks coming out at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, so I ended up going to the Scout route, and I actually really enjoyed that. It was kind of like driving a little sports car, a little MGB type, Yeah. You can fit this thing anywhere and pretty much bend it to your will. It was just a lot of fun.
And that's a single person Was that a single person?
Well, a single pilot, you didn't have to have another person in there, but, you could have up to 4 people in it.
Oh, okay. All right.
They had front and rear seats.
And where did you end up flying that at? Did you stay right there at?
Yeah, I trained and qualified in it right there at Fort Rucker, and then graduated flight school. That's when they actually pin the bars on you as far as now you're W1. Because even though you passed the warrant officer development course, you have to pass whatever it is or be good enough to do whatever it is wherever they want you, whether it's CID, finance, or flight school.
Right.
So anyway, that's when I got my bars and got shipped off to Fort Campbell.
So was your family there when you graduated?
Yes.
And how was that? Like, what was their reaction to all of this?
Oh, they were extremely proud. I was, I don't know, I was extremely nervous because they're just on you about everything left and right, and don't be late, and it was stressful. It was a stressful time.
Yeah.
But I was married, had 2 kids, and my parents were divorced, but both sets of them came, and also my uncle on my mom's side, and it was a pretty enjoyable time.
Well, it's very cool that everyone could be there. When did you get married? Somehow we missed that part.
Actually, when I ended up re-enlisting, because back when I was extending a month at a time,
right?
So every month I had to get in line to get paid. I had to get in line to get a new ID card. Next month, I had to get in line to get paid. I had to get in line to get a new ID card. So I did that for, I'm not exactly sure, but like 4 or 5 months. And finally, I'm like, well, you know what? They're offering all this money. It had gone up in this time frame.
Right.
Offering all this money for re-enlistment. Like, I think I can, do another 3 years, take this money, and then, if I get accepted to flight school, like, I can get out of it. So anyway, I re-enlisted, went home on leave, met my future wife, and when I came back after leave, she ended up coming down months later or whatever, and we ended up getting married right there on Fort Campbell.
All right.
At a chapel.
That's a familiar scene for military guys.
That's a pretty weird story, too, because the chaplain wanted to meet with us, I think, 3 times or whatever. So we met with him twice, and the third time was actually the Sunday before we were supposed to get married, which ended up being a Monday. So we had services. He said, see me after services. And anyway, come time to get married the next day, after he approved us to get married and said he would marry us or whatever, he didn't show up. It's like, what? And it's like, I don't really have a phone number for this guy other than, for the chapel.
Right.
Eventually did get him, though. I think I had talked to him once before, and he's like denying that it's him. And ended up getting him there. And, I'm just figuring a chapel, they always have someone that can play the piano or organ or whatever.
Right.
So we didn't have anyone to do the wedding march, but I had a platoon leader that's like, hey, if you let me practice a little bit, I think I could do it.
Wow.
But I can't believe that, the chaplain who was supposed to marry me didn't show up.
And no excuse. And
I don't know. He might have said something. I really is just all falling apart for me.
Yeah.
After that, it's like, I can't believe this.
But you got through it.
Yes.
You got married. And then did you have kids like pretty much right away?
Right away, yes.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, she was actually pregnant with our second child when I went to flight school.
Oh, okay.
So that made it extra miserable for her.
Yeah.
Well, like I say, Fort Rucker's pretty hot, and we did that during the summer.
Yeah, not a great place to be pregnant, I wouldn't think.
I don't think so.
No. So you get done at Fort Rucker, though. Your family shows up, you graduate, and then you head to where'd you?
Fort Campbell.
Fort Campbell, Kentucky.
Right. Screaming Eagles.
Yeah, so let's talk about that.
Well, I got there, got settled in. Everything was pretty good. Flying flying the OH-58, the Scout, and like I said, I enjoyed flying it because I wasn't real experienced at it, but it didn't take me long to get real comfortable with it. And what I didn't know was Fort Campbell or the TAC unit that I was in, they like to get Scout pilots because they couldn't get too many Cobra pilots coming out of flight school, but they could get Scout pilots. So they'd grab a Scout pilot, hang on to them for a few months, and then send them back down for a Cobra transition. That's how they got their Cobra pilots. That's what happened to me. It's like, I just get comfortable in this aircraft and you're sending me for a Cobra transition. Which, driving around that little sports car, really fun and easy to drive, and now I'm driving a garbage truck,
Right.
What it felt like.
A heavily armed garbage truck, though.
Well, yeah, I know, but I mean, just, I'm trying to put it in pictures of driving something, You're driving a sports car, all fun and easy, you can zip in and out of traffic. Now you're driving a garbage truck, and you just takes that much more attention to what you're doing.
Yeah, it's a whole different ball game.
Exactly.
So how long were you at school to fly the bigger?
Oh, the bigger aircraft?
Yeah.
I don't think the transition was all that long. It might have been like 4 weeks, 6 weeks maybe.
So in your experience, though, is it like a helicopter's a helicopter then? I mean, there's subtle differences, right?
Right. For the most part, the blades all turn the same way. You counteract the torque with the tail rotor. They all get the tail rotors. I never flew one, but a Chinook has got to be a little bit different of a story. That's more like driving a Greyhound, I guess.
Yeah, or a great big delivery truck or something. Yeah,
18-wheeler. I don't know. I have ridden in them, but I haven't flown one.
Yeah, I flew in one time, and I remember there was hydraulic fluid coming out of one of the hoses.
Right.
And I looked at the crew chief. I'm like, hey, there's fluid coming out of there, right? And he goes, yeah, don't worry about it unless it stops. I was like, okay, that must just be how these things work.
Right. We put extra in it.
Yeah.
Just for that purpose.
Exactly. So you got tricked into flying this new helicopter, and you go off to school, and then you come back. Did your wife stay at
Fort Campbell?
At Fort Campbell then? While you're
it was just a pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah.
More complicated the aircraft, the longer the qualification course is. But me and another guy from my unit ended up, it was the same thing. He was a Scout pilot, and it's like, now you're going to be a Cobra pilot. So we went down there together and drove down there. I'm thinking like 4 to 6 hour drive from Fort Campbell to Fort Rucker. And anyway, got the Cobra qualification and back to Fort Campbell we went.
Yeah. And then, so this would have been what, late 80s?
I got to put this together. Okay, so I started flight school in 84, graduated in 85, and it was like, I really don't remember what time of year it was for the Cobra transition, like say 6 months. I'm going to say it's still probably 85 when I went down there, maybe 86 when I came back.
Okay. All right. So you're back 86, and then, so what kind of things are you doing there?
We're deploying a lot or going to the field a lot.
Yeah.
Sometimes they would load aircraft up into an Air Force transport aircraft, which for us pretty much was always a C5 for the aircraft. I mean, 141s could handle the trucks and the Jeeps and whatnot, but the aircraft always pretty much went into a C5. But we flew different places too with, in the aircraft and set up camp someplace and play Army. And a week later we go back, or 2 weeks later go back to Fort Campbell. But it was always training. I mean, serious day in, day out training.
Now, did you stay at Campbell for a while?
Actually stayed there quite a while. Actually, I was there until I got out in 91.
Oh, okay.
So, I became a movement officer, responsible for these deployments that I was talking about, loading aircraft into the C5, 141s for the other stuff. And then, I was in charge of the people that were in charge of other things like the equipment. I'd have someone in charge of that. Another person would be an officer, would be in charge of all the personnel, making sure they're where they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And then usually supply sergeant would be in charge of building the pallets.
Mm-hmm.
They had to go with us. And so, like I said, I did that for quite a while. And when it came down that our unit was going to be fielding the H-64, the commander chose people that he wanted to keep in his unit, especially with the warrant officers,
mm-hmm.
and got them sent off to schools. Me, myself, and some friends of mine went to the armament course, the H-64 armament course in Fort Eustis. That was kind of to get us locked in to, we're going H-64 and we're going to stay at Fort Campbell.
Okay.
The only problem is after we did the armament course, come back, the Apache would get grounded, and then it'd be up like a day or two or maybe a week or something like that, and it got grounded again. So we were supposed to go down, from following the armament course, go down to Fort Rucker again for the qualification course.
Right.
Well, it kept getting grounded and kept pushing it back and pushing our dates back. And, we finally made it and had to go to Fort Hood through the Apache training brigade is what it was called. And the whole unit would go down there for like 6 months and train on the tactics, pretty much the same tactics as you would in a Cobra, but you're in a new aircraft. So
right.
Go down there and train for 6 months and then come back.
You're still married at this time too, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So you're in and out.
Yes. The armament course, if I remember right, was somewhere 3 to 4 months long.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm out there at Fort Eustis without my wife and children, and come back, and I didn't want to rent a place or get a house or whatever. So they ended up staying with her mother back in Michigan, which is where I'm from, Charlotte.
Yeah.
And, I kept saying, well, you can come down to Fort Hood with me for those 6 months. So we had some wives and families go down there. But they kept pushing it back. And, I'd already been 4 months without my family. So it's like, okay, well, I'm going to rent a place. I had no sooner rented the place and got them settled and whatever. And off to Fort Hood I went.
That's how it works.
For 6 months, yeah. It's like, okay, you were going to go with me, but now you're not.
Yeah. Well, and when you say they were grounded, like they were grounding the whole fleet, right?
Yes, absolutely. I don't remember exactly why or what, but when they're unsure of something, they ground everything.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to take any risk, right?
Exactly.
At least not during peacetime when you don't have to. So you off to Fort Hood for 6 months, and then you come back. I want to go back too. So you mentioned Fort Eustis, which I hadn't heard that name in a long time. I didn't really realize that they did anything at Fort Eustis because they used to call it Fort Useless.
Right. Even Uncle Sam thinks it sucks.
Yeah.
That was the acronym.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that they had that course there. But there was a lot of warrant officers, would be mixed in with NCOs and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But the class that I was in was mostly officers.
Okay. So you get back and you start just kind of going back into training mode then?
Exactly, deploying, training, and
mm-hmm.
again, you're the first ones at Fort Campbell, so everybody wants to see you. Back to deploying a lot and dog and pony shows for whoever wants to see you.
Back to your M1 days, right?
Exactly. I've been through this. I know what it's about.
So it's kind of cool though that you got to be on kind of the cutting edge of the new tank and now the cutting edge of these new helicopters.
Exactly.
Yeah. Not a lot of people have that sort of experience.
No, and usually when you get your advanced aircraft, like me starting out would have been the Cobra. And then of course they were transitioning to the 64, so I got into that. But you're pretty much locked in flying a 64. You can't say, oh, I want to fly Blackhawks. No. We trained you to fly a 64. You're going to fly a 64.
Right.
But there was a few people that got around that. I had one guy in my unit that ended up going to the fixed wing course, which I was pretty envious of that because I just don't imagine, their jobs. But
yeah, I want to ask something. So you talk about flying helicopters like, oh, it was my job. This is what I did. It was fun. Wasn't it like really cool? Like, did you ever like sit in that seat and go, holy crap, this is really cool?
Well, yeah. Once you get comfortable with it, I mean, when you're uncomfortable in aircraft, it's like, it's a little bit stressful.
Right.
But, you start out when you're uncomfortable, whatever, and don't have that much training. You have either an instructor pilot or a senior guy, that would keep you from getting in trouble till you got trained up.
Yeah.
And then you become the senior guy and you're training the newbies behind you.
Yeah. I just can't wrap my head around I'm flying this helicopter. That would be so cool. But then again, I guess that's it's what you trained for. It's what you wanted to do.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then, so you stayed at Fort Campbell, and you said till you got out.
After Desert Storm.
Yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit. What was like the lead up for Desert Storm like, and then what happens?
Well, they locked us down. They have this deal where they send out an alert, and you're supposed to be ready to go, wheels up, within 18 hours. And so that usually means you got like an hour to report to your unit.
Right.
Once the alert goes out, I mean, for us, we had beepers back in the day. So your beeper goes off, and you know that because you know that you were on deck basically.
Right.
And if your beeper went off, you report and whatever. So they locked us in for about a week to 2 weeks, something like that. And knew something was going on. They're not saying what, but I'm starting to do all these loads for aircraft, which I've already have some done.
Mm-hmm.
Basically this is how we're going to load out. They're like, oh, let's take every contingency. Let's just make hundreds and hundreds of load plans. And I'm going nuts. I don't know what it's all about or whatever. But then find out that because we're locked in, we're not be able to go home and watch the news, whatever. But come to find out, Kuwait had been invaded by Iraq.
Right.
So away we go. And I don't know. It's kind of weird because they give us sleeping pills when we get on the aircraft.
Yep.
And it worked. I remember going to sleep, but I don't remember how many hours it was. But it was quite a while that we landed in Spain. Then we went from Spain to King Fahd Airport, which was still under construction then.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember getting off the plane. It was like 100 plus degrees. It was like 105, 106 or whatever when we walked off the plane. It was like first thing in the morning too.
It's not going to get much better than that.
Holy crap, it's hot here. I thought they sent me halfway around the world to die from heat exhaustion because, when they get up to around, in the high 20s or low 30s, 132 or whatever, it's like, I can't deal with this.
I don't think people realize how freaking hot it is over there.
Oh, it was terrible. And, everybody's writing home about this and whatever. And I think it lasted a good 3 months where the coolest it got was like 104 degrees. And that was, at night.
And after you've been there for a little while, that's cold.
Yeah, well.
Maybe not.
Yeah. Well, that sweating 24/7 gets really old.
Yeah, that's true.
And then they weren't really prepared for, the desert.
No.
So we had to wash our clothes in like little swimming pools.
Mm-hmm.
What you've seen in Vietnam movies as far as latrines, that's what we had. And this is on an airfield.
Right.
An airport.
I think too, like during that whole time in the, the late 80s, the early 90s, we were still training for like a Russian American ground battle in the woods somewhere.
Right.
Not for anything in the desert.
Right.
Because nothing we had
was ready for the desert.
No. And I was always curious, how did the heat impact the helicopter? Like, does that change anything for you when you're flying? Because it's so hot as opposed to, how the air is, say, in the States.
Well, we wanted to get off as quickly as we could.
Mm-hmm.
One thing about the Apache that I really, really like is that it's air conditioned. And it's not so much for, crew comfort. It's because of all the electronics it has to stay dry and it has to stay cool. So basically the air conditioning it has runs through them first and then comes to you.
Yeah.
Which didn't matter. I don't mind sharing as long as I get some. I'm trying to remember. I don't really remember if the Blackhawks were air conditioned too, but it seems like maybe they were. But anyway, yeah, it wasn't too bad once you got up in the air or once you got running.
Yeah. And so what sort of things did you do while you were there?
A lot of training at first, and then we had one thing that I think was pretty cool. We started training for this mission. It was named Normandy. I don't know if you've heard about it.
I have not.
Okay, well, at the beginning of the war, which I'm thinking was January 17th, if memory serves me right, we had, I'm not sure how many aircraft it was, but I'm going to say two companies go out. And what they did was take out these two radar sites on the way to Baghdad.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was part of it and not part of it. I trained for it. I was backup to the backup. So we all start up for the mission with the backup and the backup to the backup, which is me or whatnot. And, as long as the backup and the other aircraft can make it, backup to the backup falls out, but then the backup continues with them to the jump point before they went to the mission. And the mission, like I say, was to take out these radar sites going into Baghdad. And I remember being woke up, seemed like it was like around 1 o'clock in the morning, with all these fixed wing aircraft taking off with afterburners on. You cannot sleep through this.
It's a little noisy.
Yeah. It's like, oh, guess what? I think the war is starting. So anyway, basically my unit was the one that fired the first shots of the war.
Oh, okay. Took out the radar sites and
took out the radar sites. The Air Force came in through that gaping hole that we left. And bombed the heck out of Baghdad.
And so the helicopters kind of have an advantage too, right? Because they can do that low fly.
Yes.
Kind of under the radar sort of thing and get stuff done that maybe the jets can't do.
Exactly. And like I say, we've been training for it. We've been, flying all these missions into Iraq. And what I didn't like about it was we have these radar detectors let you know when you're being silhouetted by anti-aircraft or whatever.
Right.
Which I'm guessing maybe the Air Force's stuff looking at you would set this off too. Because, it's just like the whole time we in Iraq, this thing was going off. And we can't fire back unless we're fired upon. So it almost would have been better for me to have the thing off.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, what's the point?
It's going off the whole time we're in Iraq. Anyway, like I say, we trained for that and basically figured out the route that we wanted to use. And these guys actually just recently, within this past year, because it was secret and whatnot, got a distinguished flying medal, the Distinguished Air Medal. That's it.
Okay. Took them a little while, didn't it?
It did take them a little while, but that's like, oh, good for you.
Right. Now, this was as wars go, this was pretty short though, right? So how long were you there?
Actually was there from August 19th, 20th. I think we took off the 19th and probably landed there on the 20th. And I did not leave to come back until April.
Okay. So you were there for a while then.
Yeah, a lot of it was standing around waiting while the buildup happened.
Yeah. Yep. But they want everybody
and
there.
then, acclimating, then learning to fly in the desert. It's like, here's your map. They hand you a piece of sandpaper.
Yeah. And it's like, to me, Kuwait is like being on the moon. It's that really fine sand
right.
gets into everything.
There towards the end, Hussein set the oil rigs on fire,
Yeah.
whatnot. That was weird flying in that. It's like, 'cause then it just seemed like everything was on fire.
Wow. Did you get any good pictures while you were there?
I don't know that I did. I think I have some. I've been meaning to go through them, and I haven't.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a lot of that stuff that's just sitting in a box somewhere that somebody will get to it maybe.
Well, it's protected for now. So
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so anything else about your deployment there that you wanted to share?
Mm.
I mean, that's already pretty big, though, what you guys accomplished just to get into Baghdad.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to when we were at the Apache Training Brigade.
Yeah.
They have like an aircraft there that you're supposed to trade one of your new aircraft for this aircraft to kind of help you with your maintenance flow.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up getting this, I don't know if you understand the term, hangar queen. I think it had been there, one of the first aircrafts ever to go to Fort Hood for the, Apache Training Brigade. But I'll explain a little bit about hangar queen. That's where this aircraft gets grounded. You order parts for it, and it's sitting in the hangar waiting for these parts. In the meantime, 2 or 3 other aircraft go down, and they're like, oh, well, we can get these 2 or 3 aircraft up if we just take the parts off of this one we've got waiting for this other part. So they take the parts off of it, and, they're on order to. So anyway, this gets done over and over until this bird gets so picked apart and stuck in the hangar and gets known as a hangar queen. And anyway, so we got stuck with this aircraft, and I remember the last 3 numbers was 383. Well, that's the aircraft I was training on to go onto this Normandy mission.
Uh-huh.
And while we were training, we were going to fire a Hellfire missile. And it's the first time for me ever firing a Hellfire missile. I was like, oh, man, this is cool. I've seen it, but I've not done it. So we got out there, and we're going to fire this Hellfire missile. I don't know what was wrong, but it would not launch.
Mm-hmm.
So we land, give it to another aircraft, they launch it, whatever. Well, when we get done with that mission, we come back, and then an armament officer and a maintenance officer go try to diagnose why this thing isn't firing missiles.
Right.
And anyway, so they're sitting on the airfield, and I don't know why, but we had armed aircraft pointed at each other.
Oh, no.
Well, they're working on this aircraft trying to figure this out. It's armed, and this Hellfire just launches from the rail. And we're, towards the building, the airport side, and so you got the ramp to go through. All these other aircraft parked out there of all different sorts and whatever. Then on the edge before the runway are these Chinooks. This missile takes off and kind of weaves its way through everybody, misses everything. These crew chiefs were working on this Chinook just for the runway, working on the engine, so they were on the back of the aircraft. Missile just misses them. Goes underneath the rotor blades, right beside them. And anyway, so it gets to the runway and does what's called a G-bias climb. It goes up in the air. It's looking for a laser signal to home in onto.
Right.
Well, it can't find one, but it comes down and slams into the Air Force's ammo depot on the other side of the runway.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't see any of this. We're in basically a parking garage is where we were living at the time. But I heard it take off. I'm like, oh, shit, that's not a rocket. That's a Hellfire. And, you hear it for a while, and then you hear this kaboom. It's like, oh, this is not good. And then a louder kaboom, kaboom, kaboom. There's other stuff going off. It's like, I was a safety officer, so I just started putting my stuff on. It's like, I don't know what happened, but I'm thinking they want a safety officer down there, so I'm going to go.
Yeah, probably.
Well, come to find out, on this Air Force ammo depot, they have 2 guards on it. And, of course, you can't smoke inside an ammo depot. So one of them smoked, one of them didn't. But the one that smoked says, I'm going to go outside and have a cigarette. The other guy says, well, I'll come out there and talk to you or whatever while you're smoking. So they're not actually in the ammo depot when that thing hit. Thank God.
The two luckiest guys on the planet.
Oh,
right there.
man. Yeah, the Air Force wanted to know what we had against them. It's like, well, you were too close.
Yeah, somehow it's their fault.
Right. But anyway, it's like, oh, and it's just, life is just crazier than anything you can make up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can't even imagine that. That's like...
Well, you got all this open desert on the other side of the runway.
Right.
You got one little ammo depot there.
That's how
That's
how
where
it
the
works.
missile goes. It wasn't designated, It didn't have a laser to track on it. Why it went to that place, I have no idea.
Right. It just somehow knew.
But anyways, like I say, that was my aircraft that I was training on.
Yeah.
And of course, they wanted to severely burn this maintenance officer and armament officer. Like, oh, you guys should have known better, blah, 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 whatever. I was like, no, wait a minute. We had some IPs and some safety officers stick up for them. It's like, look, wait a minute. McDonnell Douglas, which is who owned the aircraft at the time, it's Boeing now, but
Yeah.
McDonnell Douglas swore to us, and for those of us who've been to the Army Corps, you cannot launch a Hellfire from the ground. I mean, you can trick it to think it's in the air, but it still will not launch a Hellfire from the ground. But yet we did.
Somebody was wrong.
Yeah. It's like, so anyway, that aircraft disappeared within about a week.
Yeah.
I mean, it was no good to us.
Well, I'm sure McDonnell Douglas didn't want to hang it out there anyway.
Right. That's why I'm thinking it disappeared.
Yep.
Although I don't remember getting a replacement for it either. But
Well, that's how that works too.
yeah, this was this hangar queen that they forced on us. Like, you have to take this. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And then, we end up attacking the Air Force with it.
The Air Force paid for it.
Right.
That's too bad.
But an interesting story.
Yeah. Yeah. So talk to me about redeployment. What was that like coming back then from there? Unless there's something else you wanted to talk about.
Oh, no.
Redeployment.
Coming back, they were going to pretty much send everything back by ship.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to, prepare vehicles and aircraft and whatnot, and had to have like a person from the unit travel with it. I don't know if it's going to all be on one ship or separate ships or whatever. But anyway, so I'm in the middle of planning that, and my platoon leader, for whatever reason, he volunteered to be one of the guys to go with this stuff. But I had a family emergency at home. My stepfather was having like a quadruple bypass surgery.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have to stick around for that.
So you got to hop on a plane and...
Yeah, I got to hop on a plane and come back, but it took him a while to get that stuff to, I think it went to Florida.
Uh-huh.
And then, once we were all back at Fort Campbell, whatever, we had to fly down there, pick up our aircraft, and fly it back.
And then, so this is...
91.
Yeah. Yep. So this is right around the time you're getting out of the military then?
Right. The war was pretty quick. I think it only lasted 4, maybe 5 days, if that. And it's like we sat in Iraq for maybe another week or two after that, just to make sure, I guess, that it was really over. We went back to King Fahd Airport, and then it seemed like we was waiting forever. Everybody wanted out at once. And,
Well, yeah.
Anyway, we got back, and one thing I remember about that war is they didn't take they did not take Hussein out of power.
Right.
It's like, this guy's a Looney Tune. I said, I understand it's all political and whatnot with all these other Arab countries, but I have a feeling he's going to rear his ugly head again, and we're going to end up having to go back. And that was my biggest fear. I really hated being in Iraq. The weather, there was just nothing good about it.
Yeah.
So when we got back and they offered this kind of like after Vietnam reduction in force type deal, we're gonna let you get out. Not only that, but we're gonna pay you to get out. Mm-hmm. Really? Well, I had 12 years at the time, and it's like, do I want to stay in? Because I got orders. I put in for this, but I got orders for Germany at the same time. And I'm really wrestling with it. It's like, I do not want to go back to Iraq. And I'm thinking, my thought is we're going to be back in there within 5 years. Of course, this is 92 by then or whatever, but
Yeah.
I think it ended up being, 2003 or was it 2001? Somewhere in there. But I mean, I could have retired in 1999, done my other 8 years.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
Well, I don't blame you. I mean, everybody's got their reasons for doing what they do, right? I mean, you went, you served, and you knew it was time to kind of pack up. So now, was your family at Campbell with you then at this time?
Actually, I got divorce paperwork while I was over there.
Oh.
Final divorce paperwork.
Oh.
So that was sad, but.
Yeah. Yeah. Not an uncommon story, but it sucks.
I had been gone a long time, so.
Right.
She was pretty much living single anyway.
Yeah. So she came back to Michigan then?
Yes.
Okay. And then you got out and you came back to Michigan. Or did you go someplace else after that?
Yeah, I came back to Michigan, and then it was still hard to get a good paying job here. I think I had a job driving a truck for a little while, and that wasn't paying like I thought it would. So I ended up moving down to the St. Louis area, Illinois side where I'm from, Wood River area.
Yeah.
And ended up getting a job down there working for one of Red Hostess.
Mm-hmm.
And I was also in the Army Reserves, flying Blackhawks at Scott Air Force Base there, which was about 40 miles or so from St. Louis.
Okay. How long were you in the reserves for?
I was in about 3 years.
Okay. And
so that's going back to the beginning where I say you don't end up flying other aircraft. I was in the Apache, but then this unit was nothing but Blackhawks. It was a, troop mover. So
you had
they sent me down for a qualification. I got it, and I was flying for them.
You had your fair share of flying different aircraft then.
I did. Between the Black Hawk and the Apache, I mean, there's good things and bad things about both of them.
Mm-hmm.
The Black Hawk ended up getting grounded a lot there at first too. Had a problem with the stabilator in the rear. If it's scheduled down, you couldn't pull back on the cyclic far enough to keep it from nose planting.
Oh,
and they didn't know why it was doing that. Flying along, and all of a sudden you're a lawn dart.
Yeah, no good. That goes back to the games we played in the early 60s.
Exactly.
Right?
So, yeah.
So you did that for about 3 years, and then
yes.
Did you stay in the St. Louis area then when you got out of the reserves?
I did. Like I said, I was working for one Red Hostess, and they ended up going like bankrupt twice within 4 years of each other, and I was just about ready to get a retirement from them when they closed the doors.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, I'm done with this, and then left there and moved back up to Michigan. My parents were getting older. I kind of wanted to see them in their golden years and be around for them. I mean, my dad wasn't doing too good at that time, and my mother wasn't getting any younger.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the interesting thing. Like, I feel like I remember my parents being young,
right,
and now they're old, and I don't know what happened in between. And then my kids are seeing the same thing, right?
All right. I mean, I was gone a lot, being in service, so I mean, they had a whole lot of life that they did that I wasn't part of.
Right. That's interesting though, because like when you go into the military, whether it's on a deployment or whether you're just in the military for a number of years, 'cause I was out of state for almost 10 years. Life goes on. Like it doesn't stop and wait for you to come back.
Right.
It just drives on, and then whatever happens, and now you're back. And so did you come back and did you go back to work, or what did you do when you got back to Michigan?
Okay, so when I came back to Michigan, it was hard finding a job. I mean, I eventually I think ended up working for Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they'll hire old people, which I was old at the time, so. And I wasn't Social Security age yet, but I definitely think there's an age discrimination to getting hired.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you think about it, look at your career. You flew these. I mean, flying a helicopter is no small thing, right?
All right, I wasn't broadcasting this to everybody when when I was looking for a job or whatever.
Yeah.
That's kind of something I kept close to the vest.
Okay. I was going to say, I mean, I'm thinking like all that responsibility, all those things, that's got to translate into something. But I think sometimes it's difficult for people to understand too. Even if you told them, they wouldn't understand it. Yeah. So you didn't really talk about it then?
No, I haven't. I guess I could be classified as an introvert, and once I let something out, it's like, okay, well, we're going to talk about that, and I really don't like talking a whole lot, so I don't know if you can tell or not.
Well, actually, no, because we've been talking for almost an hour and a half here.
Oh,
so yeah, I got a lot out of you, and you didn't even know it.
Well, yeah, he's bringing stories out of me that I hadn't prepared to share. I mean, I've got something written down here.
Yeah. Was there anything we haven't talked about that you want to talk about? I mean, this is your story.
Well, one was kind of sad when we were doing that XM training, XM1 training. They had us drive all around Fort Hood, which is 364 square miles, I think. So we're driving around on these tank trails for like 18 to 24 hours. We'd stop and refuel and whatever when we needed to, and driving through the night. Anyway, we were coming up onto this, I don't know exactly what it was, but the trail went straight, and they wanted us to go up onto this road and take this bridge and cross, and then go, cross the bridge to the other side or whatever. Well, this whole crew, I guess, fell asleep, but the tank was still going full speed or whatever, and it just barreled into a granite cliff.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and no one survived. I mean, it was just, it was pretty sad, but I don't know exactly how I did it because I was that tired myself,
Yeah.
You get driving on those trails, and you just hear this kind of like roar with a rhythmic beating of the pads hitting the pavement, and they fell asleep. And
yeah, it's nothing to just close your eyes for half a second. And then
another interesting thing was, like we were testing this to find faults and things that I wish I could remember the exact number of modifications they made from us breaking stuff.
Right.
But, it was a turbine engine. So when you would park, and these brakes could stop that turbine engine. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know how they worked, but they were awesome. So anyway, you take and brake, and then you set the parking brake, and then you shut the tank down.
Right.
Well, sometimes you'd have to park on an incline, and what we found out was, you hit this button to start the turbine. Sometimes it sounded like it was starting, but then it would abort. It'd have an abort light come on, and it'd wind down. You'd have to try it 2 or 3 times to get it going. Well, because you were thinking that it was starting, you don't have the green light yet, and you don't have the abort light, you undo the parking brake. Well, but before this thing is spooled up, you don't have any brakes when you undo the parking brake. Mm-hmm. There's nothing there. So if you're on a hill, and we had this how we found out about it, we had this one tank go barreling down into the battalion commander's tank, and he was hot about it. Like, okay, well, we're going to investigate this. Like, okay, so do not release the parking brake until you get the green light that says you're started.
Uh-huh.
And I remember it's really hot inside the driver's compartment, especially when you have the hatch closed. And we're sitting up on this overlook on this mountain with about a 300-foot drop, I'd say. And my loader wanted to switch places with me. Like, oh yeah, I'll switch places with you. I can get some air,
Yeah,
so
no doubt.
Anyway, we get this order to move or whatnot, and he hits the start button, and I forget his name. I'll just call him Fred. Fred, do not release that click parking brake.
No.
I'm like, oh, did you release the parking brake? Yeah, I released it. Creep. We start creeping towards this edge, and I forget how close we were, but we're creeping towards this edge. It's a 300-foot drop. I'm not going with this thing.
Yeah.
I start climbing out. I got I'm wired in with this helmet, but I got the wire stretched as far as it go, and got the tank commander yelling at me, Benning, get back in this tank. I'm like, ass, I am not going over that cliff. And it really took a long time for it to start. I thought it was going to abort.
Yeah.
But still yet, I wasn't going over a cliff in a tank. But it started, and he stopped, and we're like on the edge. And it's like, I knew better, but I didn't tell him in time. I tried to tell him, like I said, and then he released it. It's like, oh.
That's got to be an awful feeling.
Right. Like I said, I was not going over with that tank, though.
Yeah, you don't need to do that. Well, we have talked about a lot of things here today, Jerry. And for a guy who doesn't talk, we talked, like I said, we're over an hour and a half now.
Cool. Well, I've got so many stories in me. That's why I said, once I get started.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear all of them. As we kind of get ready to wrap up, unless there's anything else that you wanted to share, the only other question I have for you is, people will be listening to this soon and, years down the road, maybe even after you and I are both not here anymore. So the kind of final question is, what message would you like to leave for people, about how you lived your life and just, some advice for them in the future?
Oh, I would just like to tell some of these young people, the services need good, smart people that can handle the challenge. Don't expect it to be easy. They're not going to give it to you, but I think you'll get a lot of self-confidence out of it. You'll get a lot of training, and for the most part, you will be a way better person on the other side of it. So,
all right. Well, thanks for sharing that. Thanks for spending the afternoon with me. I appreciate it, Jerry.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. That's a wrap for this episode of the Veterans Archives podcast. We truly appreciate you taking the time to listen and honor the incredible stories of our nation's heroes. Don't forget, you can catch us every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern on Wreaths Across America Radio, or stream past episodes anytime on Buzzsprout, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and as I've said before, any place you can find a podcast, you can find the Veterans Archives podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share our content on YouTube and Facebook and TikTok and Instagram and across all social media. Every share helps us reach more people and preserve more stories. The Veterans Archives podcast is a nonprofit initiative, and our mission is simple: to give veterans a voice and ensure their stories are never forgotten. This service is completely free for veterans because their sacrifices deserve to be recognized and remembered. You want to help? Follow us, spread the word, and if you know a veteran with a story to tell, send them our way. Visit us at veteransarchives.org to learn more about how you can get involved. Thanks again for tuning in, and most importantly, thank you to all the veterans and their families for their service and sacrifice. Until next time, take care, and we will see you on the next episode of the Veterans Archives podcast.